Hello, people. There's a couple things I want to discuss today. First, we're going to talk about that really horrible movie, The Many Saints of Newark, or should we say, New Woke. It quite possibly was one of the most horrible movies that I've ever had to sit down and force myself to watch. All the history timelines are totally screwed up. The timelines make no sense. First of all, it shows Frank Lucas involved. As anybody that knows about the Newark riots, it took time. They took 4 days in 1967. They lasted 4 days. But yet, if you watch the Many Saints of Newark, they would make it look like the riots lasted forever. And so many things happened in those 4 days, according to the movie. And the movie also really makes Italians look like they're racist and stupid. Um, they want to work on them. Like every Italian guy was depicted as a fool. Uh, Silvio, who was a very smart, intelligent character in The Sopranos, is made to look like an idiot in this movie. He wears a hairpiece that comes flying off. Uh, and you can go on. Any character that was in the original Sopranos series is made to look like a total idiot now in this one, in this movie. I even hate to call it a movie. You know what it looked like? It looked like they just threw something together in a couple of days. And David Chase is a genius. He did the Sopranos. It was brilliant. But if you watch the last year and a half of The Sopranos, if you remember, it started going woke with the son AJ, hating the world and all that crap. And it really started to affect the last year and a half of The Sopranos. And as we've seen, The Sopranos had a real bad ending. And by the time woke got of the last year of The Sopranos, it started going downhill. So it was good that they ended it in the final year. But this movie, Ray Liotta, Ray Liotta looked like, I can't even describe it. His voice was weird. His face was weird. He was an evil man. He kicked the woman that he brought back from Italy. He kicked her down a flight of stairs, and it basically showed him as a mean, brutalizing woman beater. And that's how he was depicted in the movie. And then on top of that, when Christopher's father kills him, Dicky Molosante kills him, he bashes his head onto a steel, and he's dead. And that happened within the 4 days of the riot. I mean, and then he takes the body down and he puts the body in a factory and burns it up. And so it looks like that he was killed in the riots. Now, one thing about the riots were very brutal. The riots started basically a couple white cops beat an innocent cab driver up. I mean, really bad. And that's what started the riots. And that was, Newark was a very corrupt police department at that time. And they were brutal, and there was a lot of race issues in the Newark Police Department. But to put them in the time of this movie was stupid. And then they have the woman. So the woman goes from the father to Dicky Molosante. And they show him sitting down at the table with his father's wife or girlfriend, whatever she was in the movie, and no one's saying nothing. They're making it look normal. How normal would it be if someone was to die and then the son is with the wife? That wouldn't ever go over in an Italian family, first of all. And this woman was from Italy, and she actually came here from Italy. And then they show her having an affair with a black guy, and it never explains how they met. Nothing. It just ends up with her in bed with the black guy, who just happens to be like the Terminator. He was unbeatable. He got no gunfight. He couldn't be, he just was wiping everybody out. And this guy was like the hero of the movie. Literally took everything about the movie away from it and made this guy like the hero. It was stupid. It was like a political statement that white Italian men are stupid and black men are smart, and they hate each other. And instead of saying, "Oh, these guys are on the equal playing field," they did the woke thing. They turned it around and just made these guys look like the racists. And don't get me wrong, back then a lot of Italian men were racist. There's no doubt. And I already did a video talking about how racist gangsters are. There's no doubt about that. But the things that they put into this made sense. Anybody with a half a brain that was sitting there would have said, this makes no sense. I had to struggle to get through the last half of the movie. It was so bad. It quite possibly was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's right there with Howard the Duck. And Howard the Duck is considered a horrible movie, but this movie is right there. And my opinion, if you want to see and then Ray Liotta, after he dies, his character dies as the father, Milisanti Jr. He's the senior, he's the father. This guy his son, after he kills him, goes to prison and finds his brother who looks just like him. And he's there for murdering some maid man, which made no sense because if he murdered a maid man back then, he would be killed. And he would be killed in prison. It doesn't matter. There was no excuses. If you killed a maid man and you were not a maid man, you'd be killed. They didn't care if you went to jail. That part made no sense either. Nothing about this movie made sense. Nothing. Tony Soprano was the kid that played him. Great. That's Tony. That's James Gandolfini's son in real life. And he did as good as he can with a horrible script. Like they had him robbing and taking off an ice cream truck, but it never explained it. It was stupid. It made no sense. And they made the riots look like they lasted for years. And the riots lasted 4 days. Those riots is what destroyed Newark. Newark never recovered from those riots because there was so much destruction that was done back then. And that was just a political goal to put those together so they can get the Newark riots in there. And unfortunately, it killed this movie. I'm not looking at people are talking about more movies being made, but I don't know if Chase wants to make more movies. I'm hoping not. Oh, God. It's going to just be more garbage. And this is just such a disappointment, this movie. A lot of people waited for it. They waited. Heck, I even went and got HBO Max just so I could watch it. It was such a disappointment. Just garbage. And I would just tell anybody, go see something else. If you don't have HBO Max and you're thinking about getting it just to see this movie, you're wasting your time. Because this is garbage. It's the only way I could describe it. I can't even say 1 star. It doesn't deserve a star. Anybody that liked this movie really has to question their thought process. That's what I would say about this movie. And that's it. That's the part that I'm talking about on my review of that movie. If you want to go watch it, have a blast. I'm sorry if I gave stuff away. But it doesn't matter. It's garbage. That's the only thing I can give away. I can tell you for sure that it's garbage. And with everything going on in this country now, it's just part of what's going on in this country now. White man's evil. White man's done everything wrong. And it's their fault. Just typical liberal left-wing garbage. Hey, if you're a liberal, if you're a radical liberal, go see this because to you it's going to make sense, even though it doesn't match up to any type of history, except the riots were 4 days. They made it seem like 4 years. They were 4 days. Okay. Then I'm going to go on to another thing. Sammy Gravano. Sammy has to make up his mind. Did he know John A. Light and Gene Borello or not? Because he's all over the place on this. And I just want to play something of what he said. Okay, let me pull it up here. Okay, that'll pop up in a second. Okay, I want you to listen to this very carefully.
If you would have raped her, my decision would have been totally different. This guy who's going to be on a show with Johnny A. Light and Gene Borello, who are both friends of mine. Every now and then they have their own show on YouTube. I'm asked a lot of questions about them. I know both of them. Both of them are tough guys. Both of them are friends of mine. So when I'm asked questions about them, either one or both of them, most of the times my answer is ask them. I don't talk about people behind their back. If you have a question or you don't believe something, ask them. I hope people don't talk about me, especially people of that status. So if you like this story.
Okay. So right there, you hear him say he knows Gene Borello, he knows John A. Light, and he's dealt with them. Maybe he hasn't. And then he comes out and says that he got $3,000 when he got out of jail to say that he did know him. But here we are when he's successful and he's doing these shows right here. And at this time, when he said this, his show's taking off. And now he's saying, I know them. And he even puts Gene Borello's name into it. And he doesn't say the name correctly, but he didn't say Jimmy Calandra's name correctly either. I'm saying the odds are he probably didn't know any of them. But the fact of the matter is, he's claiming he does. Sammy's a liar. That's what he is. And the reason I say this is, I'm going to put this up, and people, you can go here. This is incredible stuff. This is the smoking gun. It's the Sammy Gravano when he briefed the FBI, and he talked about a lot of stuff. He talked about everything. It's some of the most amazing reading you can ever read. There's no doubt that this guy was the biggest witness, your witnesses, because everything on there is incredible. But there's one thing missing from that, from the briefings. The FBI went to the family's house of Alan Kaiser and told Alan Kaiser that Sammy Gravano admitted killing him. Their exact words to this family, not Louis Melito. They said Sammy Gravano admitted killing Alan Kaiser. But for some reason, that confession is withheld from this part of the briefing. And the FBI probably left it out because they didn't want the killing of an innocent kid to be in here, because they wanted to give him a break, and they wanted to get him, he wound up doing 4 years. And so that murder was literally taken out of, it was hidden. Even though the FBI went and told the family that Sammy admitted that he killed Alan Kaiser. He never said Alan Kaiser ran at him. Like what he says in his videos now is Alan Kaiser ran at him and Louis Melito shot him. But the fact of the matter is, when the FBI went to see the family, they said Their exact words to the family. Nothing about Louis. Sammy Gravano admitted shooting Alan Kaiser. So, and when I talk about changing history, this is what's going on right now. Everybody's dead. Everybody's dead right now. Sammy Gravano's alive. He could basically say anything he wants about anyone. And it's history, especially young people that don't, they weren't even born back in the 80s, the late 70s and stuff when Sammy was running the streets, until 91. So they don't even realize anything that, they have no knowledge of it. Their knowledge right now, they're learning about the mob from Sammy Gravano. And granted, a lot of Sammy Gravano's stories are the same as he said in his briefings with the FBI. I'll give you an example. Exactly what he said about the hit of Castellano in his FBI briefings is identical. And he also, let me pull something up here. He talked about a club, Frank Fiala. This guy owned a club, and he took a machine gun out and threatened to kill Sammy. And so Sammy went outside with his crew. They waited for him to come out, and they took this guy out. And then they shot him in both eyes. And the way that Sammy says it happened in the confession with the FBI or the briefing with the FBI is exactly what he says on his video. So there's no doubt some of his videos are very accurate, but some of them aren't. If you go through the whole entire briefing with the FBI and all, I'm not sure how many pages it is, maybe 90. If you go through that and read that whole thing, there's lots of murders and everything. And you come away with also, John Gotti was a very bad man. John Gotti was a killer, a very bad killer, because he talks about some of the hits. And see, you can't lie to the FBI when you're doing, you can lie, but Gas Pipe tried to lie, and what happened to him? They dropped it. They didn't give him his deal. He broke his deal because they caught him lying. So he couldn't lie. Sammy couldn't lie. And he put a lot, that's why he talked about Alan Kaiser. So I would tell anybody, if you had not read this, go to this site, and it's by the Smoking Gun. And all you got to do is put smokinggun.com /file/Sammy the Bull Gravano FBI briefings. And that's why I got it right in across the bottom there. And read that. If you want some really good reading, I mean, it's intense. This ain't like bullshit stuff. This is a guy that did so much bad stuff. Not only does it have his murders in it, it has about his racketeering. It has about anything that he did with the unions, beatings. But it's pretty hard on John Gotti. I'll give you an example. There's this guy up in Connecticut, just got out of prison, and John Gotti called him down to come to meet him at the Raven Night. And the guy refused to come down because he was being watched by parole. He had just gotten out of jail, and he didn't come down. So Gotti had him killed. And there was Mileto murder. Gene Gotti was sitting and playing cards, and when he came in, and they shot him in the back of the head, but Gene Gotti was right there. So, I mean, you're talking about Sammy put these people at all these murders. John Gotti, Gene Gotti, and so many other people. And when I started reading it last night. I couldn't put it down. It's like reading a book that is so accurate and so good. And then if you watch what he's doing on his show, on his channel, he's changing the stories around a lot of things that he talks about. And all you have to do is go read his confession, and then look at some of his shows. Some of the shows are accurate, and a lot aren't. They don't match up with his debriefing, what the FBI came out to. So that's just something I wanted to talk about because I found it really fascinating. And let's see. Okay, I'm gonna do a live show tomorrow. Every other day, I'm gonna drop a video like this, make it like 20, 25 minutes where you can watch it, and then after that, hopefully you come to the live show. I don't like doing a live every day. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's mentally wearing, especially with the trolls and stuff. I mean, look at what certain shows right now are going through with the trolls. Let me see if I have anything else here to discuss. My dying show hit 2,200 subscribers. So I picked up, I would say it was 12 days ago, we hit 2,000. And in the last 12 days, picked up another 200 subs. So we're growing. And, you'll hear these rumors like, oh, the show's not doing that well and stuff. But, we're growing at a good pace and not too fast, which I'm glad about, as long as we're going forward and not backwards. And to be at 2,200, I just want to thank everybody that has subscribed. And to know that we picked up 200 since we had 2,000 that quick is really nice. And it sends a signal to other people. This old man's show's still around and it ain't going anywhere. Okay, people, I just wanted to share that news with you. And I hope you come tomorrow to my live. I'll let you know what it's going to be about. There's so much interesting stuff. What I'm trying to do right now is get away from the drama, if people allow me to get away from the drama. Because Josie came out today and said that I don't like Chinese people because I said they eat dogs. They do eat a lot of dogs, by the way. You can go put do Chinese people eat dogs? 20 million dogs a year are killed in South Korea. Josie, think about that. A year they're eaten in South Korea. That tells me not to go to South Korea. And just wanted to mention that. Okay, that's the end of my show, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care, people.